Guys, Yano has made another bad financial decision. But first, welcome to TechTacToe, the podcast of tech talk for everyday people. I am Dami.
And I'm Ianu, the apparent culprit of this bad decision.
Would you care to tell the court what you have been charged of, and we can deliberate on whether you're guilty or not?
Yeah, so Dami is charging me of being an Agbabola by buying the Meta Ray-Ban Wayfarer Gen 2 glasses. I got this like a few weeks back, and yeah, I've been enjoying them quite a bit. They are really good, and I'm actually finding them really handy.
You see, the funny thing about Ian or everyone is the fact that when we have like this episode, because if you remember previously, we spoke about the iPhone 17, and he said, like, oh, the phone is just okay. He ended up getting an iPhone 17, ladies and gentlemen. And then we briefly mentioned the Ray-Ban glasses, only for me to see him pull up with a pair. I mean, it's super cool. I'm not jealous. This is not coming from a place of jealousy at all. But yeah, I might just get one at this point, just because it looks cool. I mean, it does look cool.
Yeah, besides just how cool they look, and to be honest, I was a bit worried when I first got it that it may look a little bit too geeky in
Nerdy.
quotes, yeah. But to be honest, right, they actually look pretty sleek, right? And they're very lightweight as well. They have a camera that actually you can use to do things like capture pictures, capture videos, and then besides that, it comes with the Meta AI as well. So, like for example, let's say you're looking at something, you could literally take a picture and ask the Meta AI like what you're looking at, for example, right? Or if you're doing real time actions, like let's say you're playing a table tennis game with your friend, you could record a video, and then it just gives this really nice first person POV view of your videos. And obviously, you could do that things like upload to Instagram and so on. So yeah, it's pretty nifty, and the battery life also isn't that bad. It's pretty good. Let me not say I wouldn't say it's not that. Let me not say it's not that bad. It's pretty good in terms of battery life as well. And also, it has this really nifty and really cool case. And the case is actually a charging case. So once you're after you've worn your glasses for a bit, if it's running low on charge, you can just pop it into the case. As long as your case is charged, your glasses get charged right up. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice. Okay, so this is not a paid ad, but let us know if you want us to do more product review. This is one of the first product reviews in quotes
This
that
was
we're
a
doing on
real time unplanned product review.
on demand product review. But yeah, if you want to see more, let us know what you think about it. This works just fine, and this is going to be a way for us to push for it. If you're not already following TechTacToe on all social media platforms, because we do be sharing things that we find that are trending within tech, not just on the podcast episode. Be sure to follow us at TechTacToe Pod and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube as well. Every other week, we have new episodes live, and we would really love for you to share with your friends, your family, everyone, so they can also get to assess more of things within the tech world. And with that said, let's get right into this week's news. I feel like tech, again, I say this every week, but it's never surprising how much things change on a weekly basis. And since the last episode that we actually released, a whole lot has happened across all the products. But this week, we're going to be running through something different, not our usual suspects. I know we talk a lot about Elon Musk, but it's pretty much because, again, every tech news, Elon is always in there some way or another. But this week, we're going to be talking about Instagram mandating the employees returning to office for 2026, which is quite interesting because 2020 was very big on remote work. And now Instagram is saying that all their employees within the US office has to come back into the office from 2026. Also, we're going to be talking a bit about code suggesting OpenAI might be introducing ads for ChatGPT. I mean,
Yeah.
who is surprised?
Yeah, we that was definitely not a surprise. Like
Not at all. Because there's been just like so much happening with ChatGPT right now. I can't even keep up at all. And then the most shocking news that I saw in the recent time is Apple wanting to do like an auction on their founding documents. I'll say like this is the declaration of independence within the tech world. Literally, the way America was founded, the Apple founding document is that one document that also like details everything about how Apple came into being incorporated. So, what else are the headlines that we're gonna be running through, Jan?
Besides all the things you mentioned already, there's also the aspect of Apple announced or notified the European Union that two additional products or services of theirs now meet the threshold for a gatekeeper under the Digital Markets Act. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Then also 100 million cards. Later, Verve looks towards contactless payments and tokenization. So, for those who are not aware, Verve is a company in Nigeria that offers basically like offers cards and stuff for different payments and stuff. So right now they're looking into introducing contactless payments to their customers. Then also Nigerian banks. This was and again this was a huge one for me, right?
Makes me so happy because it's gone on for too long. If there's anything, I have to give kudos to the Nigerian bank
Yeah,
authority for this
yeah,
because yeah, fraud is something that is like super important and it's a pain in the neck
yeah.
within.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain in the neck in Nigeria, right? And the central bank has introduced kind of like a new policy or a framework that pretty much says that victims of fraud must be refunded within
Yeah,
16 working days from when they report the fraud. So yeah, that's very exciting as well. So yeah, those are kind of like the things we're going to be walking through, as well as other topics like, for example, a stalled deal with DSTV. Uh,
yeah.
could see channels like CNN removed from DSTV. So there's also that. I know there are a lot of adults that really love their
Nah, this
CNN.
is like
So yeah, there's also that.
this is so heartbreaking for everybody, the 90s babies. Like, we need to join hands and cry if this actually falls true because channels like Cartoon Network, CNN, Food Network, they're going to be pulled off DSTV, which is primarily like an African brand. But yeah, the deal is being stalled, and we're going to share more about what exactly is going on in that world further on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely exciting. So without further ado, let's kick off with first item. Drum roll.
Dum.
Yeah, so Instagram has mandated to its return to office to employees in the USA, like Dami mentioned, in February 2026, right? And this
Yeah.
basically follows a trend that we've been seeing over the past year or so, or maybe 2 years, where a lot of tech companies have mandated their employees to slowly move towards back to the office.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I do not personally, I do not I'm not a big fan of these full in office mandates that we've been seeing more frequently nowadays, right? But it's becoming definitely it's becoming more and more common, right? I think the
Yeah.
broader tech ecosystem and tech community really hope that work from home would be the
Yeah.
long
Permanent
term,
thing.
yeah, would be a permanent thing in the tech ecosystem, right? And the long term approach to work, right? um Especially during the COVID-19 period, a lot of people were
Yeah.
working from home. A lot of people enjoyed working from home. A lot of people still remain super productive while working from home, right? And yeah, the fact that this is becoming more and more of a thing in the broader ecosystem is very interesting. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you because COVID-19 opened up the doors to a possibility that a lot of tech workers didn't even think was possible. I don't know how we did life before COVID came into play and people are still like going to the office 5 days a week because that was quite a lot. Now that we're moving back into the hybrid setup, it feels like every job out there now, they have like hybrid work as part of their job requirements for the UK market, especially. I mean, 2 days, 3 days seems to be like the standard. But if the companies are expecting their employees to come in 5 days a week, that's too much. It's a big change from the full remote direction, which a lot of them were pushing for, like 2020, 2021, if I'm being honest. Do you remember some companies actually had like some of the hiring perks as we help you set up a work from home desk
Yeah, that was
and
very common
workspace.
back in the day.
And then it was just like so funny because now, so what exactly is going on? Now they're changing it to we have lunch in the office. And I'm like, who would pick lunch in the office over being able to like work from home? So the dynamic is so complicated. I wonder how it's going to be like. Because if there's a bit of flexibility around what days the employees can come in, that could be fine as well. I know some companies have like policies around coming in maybe just like 10 days in a month or 20 days in a month. And then you can decide on what other day you want to like come in. But as long as you meet the attendance threshold, you're fine. But I mean, for Instagram, they're saying 5 days a week in person. So I really don't know how that is going to like work, especially for the US employees, because commuting back and forth can be quite dicey. And I mean, for employees that don't even live in San Francisco or wherever the specific company headquarters is, that means they'll have to like move if they are required to come in like 5 days a week. That's just like very complicated. So yeah, for me, not a big fan of it. If they're going to like enforce it the way they intend to, there should definitely be some sort of flexibility around the days and maybe when they're required to like come in. But 5 days a week, yeah, that's too much. Just to like piggyback of what you said about employees still be productive during the COVID period. That is something that I feel a whole lot of research still needs to like go into,
Okay.
because there's two sides to it. I think for the companies, they say in-person interaction helps to like increase productivity. You're able to like converse, meet with your coworkers in person. Meanwhile, employees are still able to maintain the same level of productivity if they're working from home versus if they're working from the office. So it's just like very interesting, really. The company brings their own data, their own facts, and the employees also have their own data backing it up and showing that whether I'm in office or I'm working from home, I'm still able to like deliver on what I'm expected to. So it's more or less like I really hope companies are able to like find the middle ground because it's a big change from what we are already used to. Speaking from a personal point of view, I do not like commuting anywhere. I don't like commuting anywhere. I don't like leaving my house unless I really have to.
Yeah. So personally, I've noticed that it seems like employees typically prefer working, having the flexibility at least to work from
Yeah.
home, and a lot of companies prefer having their employees in house. Right? Again, you've already mentioned like a number of points, and in terms of like the rationale, a lot of companies think about it. So it's kind of like a yin yang situation. Like there's a fine balance, right, where everybody has to kind of like find synergy, right? So I think a hybrid work model typically works relatively well, although that obviously depends on the exact company and the work dynamics within the teams and within the companies and so on. So in case of Instagram specifically, this was revealed through an internal memo, a memo that was sent out to the Instagram team by from their head of Instagram, which is Adam Mosseri. And the memo he did say that the employees will still be able to work from home when they need to, right? So
Need
yeah,
to.
the question is
Need to.
how working from home be deemed to be necessary, right? What does need to mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the question mark in this case, right? The policy is set to start February 2, 2026. So it's been interesting to
Mhm.
see like how the Instagram employees respond to this down the line, whether there'll be any pushback from the employees as well. Either way, we'll keep everybody up to date on that.
I think the funniest thing about this policy is the fact that they say the recurring meetings that they have, once a meeting is on for like 6 months and they don't deem it necessary, they cancel it. That is a long time for you to keep a meeting running. Literally, if it's not necessary after 1 month, cancel it. Like, there's no point. Because it's the thing of if you're coming to the office like 5 days a week to come and work and you still have like all these meetings to join, how are you expected to be productive? Like, do you find yourself productive on a typical day when you have like a lot of meetings?
Well, I think it varies really, right? Definitely there's the aspect of context switching, right? Which actually
Yeah,
does
this one.
impact a lot of individual contributors, right? If you're doing focused work, sometimes you're in the zone and then having to quick switch context to another meeting and then switch back, right? And if you have can add some friction just in productivity. Now,
Yeah.
if you have to do that multiple times per day as well, the friction can increase, right? So just in terms of like working dynamics, it's also even also depends on the person as well, right?
Sure.
Whether the person, each is some things that people can typically do to counteract that. Adverse effect
Yeah.
is they have people could book focus time in their calendar, right? So you book
Yeah.
a focus time where pretty much it's your period, right? You have that
No one
time
can
to, no
come
one
in
can
and
come in and book a
disturb you.
meeting. You have that time to do your focused work, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
there's that aspect to it. But yeah, definitely many meetings can add a lot of friction and context switching
Yeah.
in your day to day.
I totally agree. And when you're in the office, one thing that I find myself doing, especially when there are like multiple meeting rooms, is that going up and down and trying to like find the meeting room. So you have a meeting in one room, you have to go to another room, then go to another room. I mean, that helps if you're trying to like get in your steps and lose some calories. But if it's not really necessary, I don't know. Like some meetings could literally just be like a Slack message or an email. You don't need to book that time in. Trust me. Like send that email or send a Slack message. Leave the meeting alone. Leave the meeting alone.
Yeah, some meetings might not be necessary, right? And in a way, like asynchronous, you mentioned like sending Slack messages, right? That
Yeah.
the great thing about sending messages is that it's the communication pattern is asynchronous, right? People
Yeah.
can, even if a person is busy at the moment, he can finish up whatever he's doing and
And
then
then reply.
reply as
Hmm.
soon as the person has bandwidth and is available to actually handle that message as well. And then also the sender could also finish up with whatever work he's doing in parallel as well. And once the receiver replies, he can also switch back context once he has bandwidth to do that, right? So there's yeah, that's
Sure.
kind of like definitely a benefit to that
Yeah,
situation.
I definitely am a big fan of asynchronous work style, primarily because like I work with people that are in different time zones sometimes. And if you decide to like book a meeting in that is like an actual virtual meeting, having to like find the time slot that works for everybody can be very tricky. But like you said, just dropping a message gives the person you're trying to talk to the ability to reply at their earliest convenience rather than putting that pressure of having someone stay up until maybe midnight their own time just because you want to have a virtual call and talk about something that could have been a Slack message.
And also in terms of sending Slack messages and everything are great. Asynchronous communication is great, but just in terms of like communication culture as well, um,
Yeah,
it's also it also helps a lot when a message has an action point or a call to action, right?
yeah.
Um, don't just typically don't just say send a message that just says like hello or something like that. Sometimes yeah, and then
You type everything in
yeah,
full.
then the receiver comes and then again now says okay, responds hey, and then
Hello.
after that you said I mean it's great. I mean obviously it's also great to say hi every now and then and everything like that, which is good. But then
Yeah.
sometimes just in terms of throughput, like the amount of work you can get done and productivity all in all, right? If you put a call to action in messages that you typically send, that also helps speed things up and speed productivity up because the receiver
Yeah,
can immediately see
honestly.
what action points needs to be handled and could rapidly respond to you, and your work could also get done like even faster, right? So yeah, there's also that aspect to it.
I totally agree. The last bit for this meta piece of news is the fact that another thing they announced or that was in the memo is the fact that they are going to be using more of prototypes of product overviews rather than decks and slides. So if you are that one employee that you absolutely hate creating presentation slides and PowerPoint is not your best friend, this could be something for you to screenshot and share with your team if you think prototypes will definitely help better to like explain product overviews. Meta is pushing for this with the new change that they'll be implementing February 2nd, 2026, with the employees having to like come back to work. I think it's like quite interesting. I'm a big fan of prototype, really. I mean, you can just like record a video and have that in place, then send over to anyone that needs to like take a look at it. That's also like a good way to work asynchronously. So that way you are able to provide context, but you don't need to have a conversation in real time with whoever is watching the video or reviewing the prototype. So yeah, big one from Meta. Let's see how that works. I feel like employees might push back against it, but in the end, hybrid work model might be the thing to like go for and just like help with context switching. But one company that has not had a problem with context switching and just like doing multiple things all at one is OpenAI.
Yeah, they're always up to something, Dami. Always up to something.
I think I said it before, like there are probably a lot of products, a lot of companies that are super stressed. Every time OpenAI comes to announce something, like the product manager just has to go back to the drawing board and be like, oh my goodness, what have they done this time? How do we change our direction, our product roadmap to align with this new thing that OpenAI is adding into ChatGPT? But this time, what we are sharing is a leak. Yes, a leak, but an ex user actually posted screenshots of like codes which looks like OpenAI is going to be putting ads into ChatGPT. What are your thoughts on
I
this?
mean, no surprise, right? Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
who was surprised?
if OpenAI does this, I don't think anyone really is surprised about it, because just in terms of thinking about monetization, right? The question
Yeah,
one foreboding question has always been, how would OpenAI monetize their
yeah,
product, right? And a low hanging fruit has always been advertisements, right? A lot of hyperscale, massive scale tech companies typically do it, especially companies like with massive user bases. Google does
yeah,
it, Meta does it, even Apple has ads, for example, in the Apple App Store, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of like Amazon has does it as well. So this is sort of like a low hanging fruit, especially considering OpenAI at this moment has like so many daily active users as well.
yeah.
So yeah, just thinking about how they could potentially approach the advertising situation if they actually do go down that route. Potentially, they could use, for example, let's say serve ads to users based on, let's say, the memory and previous interactions
Yeah,
that
the
the user,
conversations you're having.
previous
Oh,
conversations that OpenAI's ChatGPT has had with different users, right? And yeah,
yeah,
and also, frankly speaking, I mean, let's be honest. At this point in time, ChatGPT has so much information about users, right? OpenAI,
yeah,
yeah,
literally.
that data is like a treasure trove of information that could potentially be used for advertisement purposes. And yeah, I don't think this was a surprise to anyone. What are your thoughts, Dami?
I definitely agree. I mean, they've had like a great year with releasing new features, if we're being honest, because in September they launched the instant checkout with Shopify as well as Etsy. I thought like that was like quite an interesting functionality to put in the products, because I mean, half of the time that you are using ChatGPT, you're either searching for something or you're asking it to find you something. So yeah, if trying to like cook something, I ask for a recipe, I think it was a good addition to like having the products that it just helps you to like pull up whatever it is that you're searching for and you can buy it in ChatGPT. I think one of the things that I personally feel OpenAI is trying to do is to keep all the experience within their products. So if you're using ChatGPT, you technically don't have to leave ChatGPT to get anything done. But with this direction, I wonder if they're going to be like very selective about the type of products that they advertise within ChatGPT, or it's just going to be like very generic, or if it's going to be like you said, based on the memory or user charts. If it's that way, that could make it feel like a bit more personalized, which is good, not like a bit annoying or overbearing, because Instagram does this thing where you talk about one thing and then it's like it's listening, it starts to bombard you with ads of that one single thing that you search for. I really hope OpenAI does not move that way. But from a design point of view, because now the product designer in me is like trying to imagine where they're going to like slot it in if and when it actually launches. Like, is it going to be like within the product itself? Because with products like Amazon, if you're watching Prime, it shows up like as an actual ad in between the movies that you're watching. Even products like Uber, it shows up like as a card in the pop-up menu where you can see the details about the ride that you're ordering. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, definitely keen to see the way the designers at OpenAI will be able to like overcome that. It'll be quite interesting to see what that will look like, the interaction, how they will make it like very seamless so it doesn't come off as something that is like overbearing because everybody hates to see ads. And one last thing, I hope they make it like in a way that you can actually disable it. Like if I don't want to see ads. No, because think about it. I already pay for ChatGPT. Because remember in our last podcast episode, we talked about how they were making ChatGPT free in India, and that's like because they want to get like 1 million people to use ChatGPT within the country. But for people that are paying for ChatGPT, I think that should be something that they should give us at least. It's like I'm paying already. I don't want to see ads. I should not be forced to see the ads from other brands that I am not interested in. So yeah, they could probably. Oh my goodness, what if they do it in a way like you have to like pay more money to get rid of the ads in ChatGPT?
Yeah, that would be a surprising decision if it's implemented for the paid plans. But
Yeah,
to be honest, just in terms of business models, right? We've seen that happen more frequently in recent times, especially for online streaming platforms. Like for
yeah.
example,
Netflix. I'm looking
Net
at you.
Netflix has, I believe, the Netflix standard plan, whereby although
Yeah,
you're paying money for a subscription, you're still going to get some ads.
saying ad.
If
Hmm.
I'm not mistaken, Amazon Prime Video also has that as well for a particular tier of their subscription plans,
Yeah, some
right?
of the movies. Yeah,
So yeah, it's becoming more and more common. I don't like the trend personally, right? I feel like it'd be better from a user experience point of view if a paid plan is paid, and once you pay,
yeah.
you have no ads and you can enjoy your service full on, right? But yeah, I do understand that maybe some there may be some customers that find value in something like that, right? It's like a
Hmm.
trade off. Like, would you prefer to have a cheaper price and get some ads, right? Potentially, maybe. Um,
No, not me.
yeah, yeah, definitely not me as well. But maybe there probably would be some people out there who would prefer that. So yeah, let's see how that plays out.
Definitely. We'll see how it plays out and keep you updated on how it goes. But I think that would be super interesting. I'm excited from a product design point of view to see how the user interface is going to evolve to make room for ads. But the functionality is also something that I'm quite intrigued to see the way they implement it. Maybe the plans will be updated. Maybe it's going to be a free thing. We'll we don't know right now, but yeah, if and when they do launch, because this is literally just like a leak, which we're sharing real time for you, our listeners. But yeah, fingers crossed for when the official product feature actually goes out.
Up next in the news, Apple's founding document is heading for auction, and so basically, this one came as sort of like a surprise to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
So the written agreement that made the official formation of Apple, rather set the official formation of Apple in stone. At the time, Apple was known as Apple Computer Company, and this document is from 1976. Pretty much, the document is going up for auction sometime next year, and it is said to be able to might. It said that it might be sold for up to $4 million. So yeah, that one did catch me a bit off guard, simply because of the amount
mm,
of history that's sort of behind such a document, and
yeah.
um. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts, Tammy?
I mean, to be honest, I think it's cheap. No offense for the $4 million because Apple has definitely grown from what it was all the way in 1976. This is like big 2025, and the company has done fantastic. Added on like more products, more innovations than arguably any other company. Microsoft, I'm sorry. But yeah, Microsoft and Apple are definitely like the biggest contenders when it comes to like hardware products within the US. So yeah, I wouldn't say it came. Yeah, I mean, it did come as a surprise because technically it's just like a document. But one thing that I had been hoping for was the fact that maybe there will be other products that we never got to see over the years that somebody's going to like bring out of storage or somewhere that they've been keeping it, and they just be like, okay, we want to like auction this out. Because this is not even the first time that a piece of device in Apple history is been auctioned. Like we had one first generation iPhone that was sold for like 190k dollars at an auction, which is technically 300 times the actual price that it was sold when it was first released, and that happened in 2023. So yeah, I thought we might have more of those, but I did you even know there was like a document that was signed when the company was created? Because I didn't.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not surprised. I we do hear about things like that
Yeah,
happening, right? Just in terms of like founding of companies and stuff like that. Typically, like maybe board members or founding members, like founding shareholders, do have to have like typically have like some kind of written agreement to incorporate the company. In this case, the document has the signatures of Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ron Wayne, which were pretty much the founding
yeah,
members of like Apple.
fathers.
But I do have a question for you, Dami. If you had $100 million at your disposal, would you buy this Apple founding document
No,
for?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would rather use that. I'd rather buy stocks in Apple. I mean,
Fairs.
I don't know. I feel like for me, it's a question of is the document going to appreciate? Probably will. Like, if the document is going to appreciate in value, and say I have an investment advisor that tells me, yeah, you know what, this is a good buy. Maybe, just maybe, I might buy it then, but I need to be sure if I'm putting $4 million on a sheet of paper. No offense to the founding fathers of Apple, but if I'm putting like $4 million on a sheet of paper, give it 10 years, it should be worth at least five, six, or maybe $8 million more, like double the price. So yeah, if it's going to appreciate in value, I just might buy it. Would you buy it if you had $100 million at your disposal?
Nah, I don't. Nah, nah. Nah. I'm just gonna keep it real. Nah, I wouldn't buy that. Right. I
What?
think buying stocks would be a better,
Yeah,
would be more of
exactly.
my sort of like thing, right? Um, yeah, I don't think I'll buy it for $4 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have $4 million out there and you want to splurge anyway, next year, early next year, the British auction house, Christie's, will be the one to handle the auction. And it's so interesting because it's literally just like 3 pages of documents. So if you have that money to splurge, definitely buy. But I'm quite keen to see what it looks like. So I'll be on the lookout for that. But early 2026, that is when the document is going to be auctioned. If all goes well, or Apple doesn't pull back or change their mind on moving forward with the auction. But it's quite interesting. I'm quite keen to see what else is going to get auctioned in the coming years relating to the tech industry. Maybe the first computer that ChatGPT was implemented on, and then they come in like 2050 or something to like auction that as well. Yeah, and that would be quite interesting. It's a good thing actually. Yeah, quite excited to see what more items tech based that are going to like come up in the next couple of years. But still speaking about Apple, Apple might be eligible to be a DMA gatekeeper soon. What does a DMA gatekeeper thing mean?
So DMA stands for the Digital Markets Act,
Hmm.
which is basically kind of like an act or a set of like rules and everything that
Yeah.
govern how large companies, basically how digital technology companies can operate like in the EU, and also sets like some guidelines in terms of like competitive fair practices, and let's say like to prevent like anti-competitive behavior and antitrust behavior like in the digital markets, right, particularly in the EU. And so in this case, Apple services recently become have recently hit the thresholds that are set out by the Digital Market Act for gatekeeper services. Basically, a gatekeeper service is sort of like a service that has reached like a significant amount of like scale to have a significant influence on the broader digital market in the EU, right? And so these services that we're talking about in this case are Apple Maps and Apple Ads, right? So recently, Apple notified the European Commission that those two services might have passed the threshold required for basically being deemed gatekeepers. And under DMA rules, services that have 45 million monthly active users and 10,000 yearly business users in the past 3 financial years can earn the gatekeeper designation. And there are already some Apple products that already fall under this, already have been designated as gatekeepers. For example, Safari browser, iOS, and iPad OS are all designated as gatekeepers. But anyway, now the European Commission has to decide whether to designate the products from Apple as actual gatekeeper products, right? And that obviously will come with additional rules and that govern how the products can operate, right? Yeah.
Yep. That sounds definitely like good news for the Apple products. If you do not know what the DMA gatekeeping policy is, I hope this definitely provides more insight into it. So, any products that has 45 million monthly views and 10,000 yearly business users in the last 3 financial years, you automatically get like a gatekeeper destination. But I feel like this is going to be a no-brainer if they already have three products that are designated gatekeepers as of this moment. Apple Maps and Ads will most likely cross that threshold as well and receive the designation. So probably before the end of the year, I see it happening. The European Commission moves fast when it comes to Apple, if we're being honest.
Yeah, yeah. I think the European Commission would probably make a decision on this 45 days after Apple
Oh,
notified them, right?
mhm.
So literally from the time that Apple notified them, the clock had started, right? So we should get an update on that, let's say in some time, just a few weeks from now, right? 45 days isn't so long. So yeah, we'll definitely learn more about that soon. Yeah.
So very soon. Fantastic. We'll share more about that as we get the updates on the podcast. Moving on to the other side of the world, all the way over in Africa. Verve is finally bringing contactless payments into Nigeria. I am super excited about this because I think one of the questions Yano asked me before was, do we have contactless cards in Nigeria as of this moment? And I was like,
Not that wasn't the exact question. It
not
was more like it was more like contactless. I know we have there are contactless cards in Nigeria, right?
contactless.
It's like, but
Yeah.
what's the market
Not for
penetration?
the everyday person,
Yeah.
because I feel like sometimes I worry I might get into trouble while I'm in Europe because I'm so spoilt. I don't have cash on me when I go to some countries, and some countries actually have rules like you need to spend cash.
Mm,
Like when I was in Germany, it was one of the most interesting things to like experience. There were ATMs on practically every corner of the street, so you can withdraw money and pay. And some of the restaurants and like supermarkets actually tell you you have to pay with cash. And I was so used to the old dynamic of tapping a card and getting debited quickly that I was just like, okay, you still pay with cash. But yeah, Nigeria is still one of those countries that runs majorly on cash. And if Verve is actually able to like bring this to life, I think it can be quite interesting. Yeah, I think that would be like a very interesting turn of events. But yeah, so Verve is run by the Nigerian fintech company called InterSwitch. InterSwitch has been in existence for quite a while. I really like that company because they're super innovative. But yeah, they recently just like crossed the issuance of 100 million cards across Africa. This is like in the 16th year of being in existence. So now Verve is planning to like focus on the next generation technology, which is like contactless payment. So with this here, I feel like it's going to reduce Africans being dependent on foreign currency cards. Like, you have to like apply to get a dollar card, a pounds card. And if Verve is able to like bring this to life, it could actually work, but then not just for contactless payments, it could also like tentatively minimize fraud. And this is something that I think is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree. The potential in terms of number one, reducing the friction in the all around payment
Yeah,
process would be like really great because literally if you could just carry your card, tap it against, let's say, a point of sale, make your
yeah,
transaction seamlessly, right? That would be ideal versus having to slot your card into the POS terminal and then enter
every
your
time.
PIN, for example, right? And then in the process of entering your PIN, that could also be a security issue if someone is like peeping over your shoulder,
Walking by and
looking at
then
your PIN, right?
yeah.
And your card gets snatched, right? So, yeah, definitely, that's a great that would be a great thing to see actually develop in Nigeria. Also, potentially, once you have the contactless card system, right, you could potentially unlock things like adding your card to, for example, Apple Pay or your Apple Wallet, right, or your Google Wallet, right, and you wouldn't even need to really like carry your card with you physically. You could simply
Physically,
just use
yeah.
your mobile device, either your iPhone or your Android phone, whatever, right? Just tap at the POS
Make
terminal
payments.
to make your
Mhm.
payments, right? So, yeah, definitely would be exciting to see this get built. I do think that we could see significant market penetration in Nigeria if this is actually rolled out, right? Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a good one as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely agree. So yeah, the implementation of this tokenization, like Yana said, is going to make shopping online or even having digital payments in general more secured, and that will reduce the risk of fraud and data compromise. But talking about fraud, another big news coming out of Nigeria, this is primarily being facilitated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and there's a new framework being rolled out that mandates the banks to ensure they refund fraud victims within 16 working days. That is a game changer. I know it sounds like it's something that is typical, but honestly, with the way the system is built, I feel like for people that are victims of fraud, this could be a really glimmer of hope for them because some people get scammed and they literally just be like, oh, your money's gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. But with this new framework, Nigerian banks actually like have to refund all the fraud victims within 16 working days. What more do we know about this, Ian?
There is something called a 72-hour rule. Basically, if you're a victim of fraud, you basically have to report it to your bank within 72 hours for it to be deemed like eligible for this, let's say, eligible for this 16 working day um, refund policy. And I mean, in some cases, you might not be able to meet it within 72 hours. If there are
Yep.
delays and you have a good reason, let's say, for example, you're ill, right? You could also, there's also like room for things such as that, right? So, yeah, that I do agree with you completely. I mean, this is a big, a big development. I think it's also going to encourage big banks in Nigeria to
Yep.
take fraud
Fraud,
and like
seriously.
fraud
Hmm.
very seriously and also take verification of payments and also collaborate among themselves as well even more to
Yeah.
actually solve fraud situations very quickly, right? So yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, gradually, the banking system within Nigeria is getting improved year after year. Because starting with the KYC part, that's something that was also implemented recently to help with identity verification for people that are creating their account. This is supposed to like help reduce fraud because it's like you need to provide the evidence that the information that you are using to create an account is actually yours. You have to verify your address, verify your identity. That is like a really good way to minimize fraud. But I mean, fraud still happens, really. Definitely, there were some fraud cases in Q1 of 2025 alone, like over 12,347 cases were reported, which is very staggering. That is a high amount of cases to even deal with. So I agree. The Central Bank of Nigeria is moving in the right direction to help tackle this. Hopefully by Q1 of 2026. Okay, that's too soon. But yeah, sometime next year, when we revisit these numbers, it's not going to be as high as it is right now because a whole lot of money is being lost just to like fraudulent activities, and then the very weak security system across the banks.
Yeah, fingers crossed that this leads to a reduction in fraud. Definitely an exciting development, and would love to see fewer people impacted by fraud as a whole, right?
Yeah. Moving to the last conversation we're going to be touching, which is the most heartbreaking one. Oh my Cartoon Network friends, come closer, let's hold hands and cry. Because if you do not watch Cartoon Network growing up as a kid, are you
Did
are
you
you
have a
fine?
childhood? Like,
Yeah, no, like what were you looking up to? Because you know, there's nothing like you can have the most annoying day at school, but you just know, oh, when I get home, like the cartoonists were waiting for me, and you were always like excited to watching like your favorite show,
yeah,
Ben 10, Mega XSL, Juniper Lee. There was this one
Codename
with
Kids Next Door. You can't
Samurai
forget
Jack,
Samurai Jack.
Samurai
Yeah,
Jack, yeah,
that's an
Cow
OG
and
cartoon right there.
Chicken,
Yep,
Robots
yep.
Boy.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
What's this one for imaginary kids? Also, Drama
Oh, that
Island.
was a good one. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
Total Drama
no
Island, Total Drama Action, and Total Drama World
action.
Tour. Right? They were like different.
Yeah,
That
there
was
were
a really
so
good one.
many versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was so good. Cartoon Network was that was like that was a moment.
What was your
Strong
favorite
memories.
cartoon, Dami?
Honestly, I have to say like it was Ben 10 because Ben 10 was just everything, and the fact that he had that watch. I think I begged my mom for the longest time to buy me a Ben 10 watch because I thought like if I had a watch, all I had to do was spin it, tap, and need to.
did
I'll
you
transform into
did you ever
something
get the
different.
watch?
No, she could never understand why. Like, what is it about this Ben 10? Like, and you know the way mothers can be so like you're just watching Cartoon Network, you're not doing anything. You're supposed to be doing your assignments, but no, you're here watching cartoon, doing nothing. Yeah, I never got the watch, but yeah, because Ben 10 was cool. What was your favorite?
I really liked Codename Kids Next Door.
Kids Next
Yeah,
Door.
that was a very good one. Yeah, Codename Kids Next Door was a very good one. I think that was probably my favorite cartoon, right?
Oh. Well, it's because they were always up to like different adventures or something.
Yeah, definitely. They were always up to different adventures. And then the storylines were very creative and out of the box, like very out there, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
I thought it was quite interesting that they just like use numbers to like refer to themselves.
Yeah.
There's some of them that we don't even know what their actual names are. And I saw like a conspiracy theory of, you know what, I'm not going to say it so I don't break your heart since that's your favorite show. But but yeah, I saw something like, you know, when you eventually grow up and you're like an adult, you start to like recall some of the cartoons you watched, and you're just like, oh my god, the storyline seemed very simple and it wasn't that deep back then. But as a grown up, you see it from a different point of view. You're just thinking, what?
Hmm.
That was that? Oh, and how could I forget the Powerpuff Girls?
Oh.
The Powerpuff Girls. Do you remember Mojo Jojo and
Yeah,
how they
definitely.
used to like beat him up every time?
Yeah.
There was that episode where they showed us it was the professor that created Mojo Jojo as well, and the only reason why he hated the Powerpuff Girls was because he felt like they came in and then they stole the attention that the professor was giving him. But
Justice for
it
Mojo
was
Jojo.
justice for Mojo Jojo, really. Like that monkey could not catch a break. But
Yeah.
anyway, to not to debate from the actual tech news we're talking about here, the main problem is multi-choice in Africa, which owns some of these channels that we're talking about. Essentially, it's like a cable TV, so they stream TV channels like TLC, Discover Africa, Cartoon Network, TNT Africa, Food Network, CNN. Their contract is coming to an end on the 31st of December 2025. Very heartbreaking. And the distribution agreement between MultiChoice and Warner Bros. Literally, it's been stalled like a bit. So no agreement has been reached at this point, which means that there's a probability the contract is not going to be renewed. And if the contract is not renewed, all these channels will be removed from DSTV. That is
Yeah,
just
that's really
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. Imagine how many kids wouldn't have would they
Yeah,
experience the joy of watching Cartoon Network, right? Yeah, very heartbreaking to be honest.
it really is. But I mean, Warner Bros. Is like reportedly seeking new buyers, and of course, Netflix is part of those that are looking to buy, aside from Paramount. So if they're able to like take over the streaming, like if they win the streaming war, this could potentially like reposition Africa streaming with price cuts. But yeah, this DSTV is going to be losing like quite a number of channels if this contract is not renewed by the 1st of January 2026. I know a lot of people out there don't want to hear this, but you probably got the email already because they sent out that email. They sent out the email notifying their subscribers
Wow.
that some channels might no longer be available. So this is real. This is serious. This is not a fire drill.
I'd be
But
interested to see the impact that this, if they don't manage to make a deal, I'd be interested to see the impact that this has on DSTV's bottom line, like the amount
yeah,
of customers that will stop watching DSTV or just not renew their subscription because their favorite channel isn't
because
on
of
the
the
show,
channels.
right? Those are quite a number. There are quite a number of popular
Yeah,
channels among those that list, right? So yeah, let's see how this develops. Yeah.
because what I'm just thinking is what is going to be left? Like, what channels are there? I mean, Super Sports, all of that. Yeah, that's fine. Still gonna stay the same way. But these are like actual channels, OG channels, the channels that are like super cool and fun to watch. But fingers crossed, let's hope Multi Choice is able to like reach an agreement with Warner Bros. To renew the distribution before the 1st of January 2026. The time is running out. They have less than a month to finalize on that.
Right. Now we are on to the Dami's one of Dami's favorite parts of this show, which is the part where we talk about our favorite products
Per
in
product.
for the
Yeah.
past week. So Dami, what's your favorite product in the past week?
So I'm very ashamed to say this, but honestly, I feel like I've been so busy lately that I haven't really like had a chance to do so much of housekeeping and cooking. So I have sort of been outsourcing it to other people to do. But I used to be like a big fan of Uber Eats, at least since the beginning of the year. But one product that I have been loving lately is Deliveroo. Like I obsessed with Deliveroo. So let me make a case for why it's Deliveroo over Uber Eats like right now. I say like for the longest time I've always seen like Ubers for just for like rides and all of that. And then in a way my brain struggled for the longest time to sort of align it that oh if I need to order food I need to open Uber Eats, which is like still within the Uber app, and then you like have to like switch categories, and I found it very hard to find like the differences between both parts. So it's like I want to see the transactions.
Your fans are calling you Dami.
Stop. So one of the othest things that I found was finding like transactions within the Uber app when I'm looking for something that is solely for like Uber Eats and having to like scroll through the transactions for Uber for rides. And it was something that used to like frustrate me a lot because like I just wanted a single app that is for rights, and then I wanted another app that's for food. I know it sounds like very backward thinking because why have two apps when you can have one? But I thought the experience was just not properly done.
Hmm.
But yeah, with Deliveroo now, I go into Deliveroo, all I'm seeing is just the food options and the restaurants that are available to me, and then I can pick that out, order what I want. I'll say like maybe the delivery cost is cheaper. I don't know how that works, or maybe it's like delivery charge, but I end up like spending less amount of money when I'm ordering on Deliveroo compared to like Uber Eats. And so yeah, I've sort of like made a complete switch
Hmm.
in service, but my delivery order is always like properly packed as well. And I don't know, there just seems to be like a distinct difference in the quality of the service I was getting from Uber Eats compared to Deliveroo. So yeah, for now, Deliveroo seems to be solving my problem so far with food delivery, and that is why it is my favorite product of this week.
Cool. And by the way, I agree with you. I do feel like Deliveroo is cheaper than Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Generally, at least in my experience, it does feel cheaper. Um, so for me, my favorite product for this week is Spotify Wrapped. Yeah, this year's Wrapped was pretty good. I do like the Wrapped from this year. I think they put in the work.
Every Yeah, every single year that I see Spotify apps, I feel giddy like a child in a candy store because the design is always so good. Like they always manage to top the design, the interaction of the year before. It gets better and better and better and better. And that is so cool. Like, I don't know. I'm such a Spotify fan girl. I'm not gonna lie, because I've used the products for like the longest time. But every single time I see like Spotify wrapped, I'm always like, yeah, this is a well thought out product experience. So tell us who your top artist was. We're going to try not to shame you or judge you.
Dami, you and putting people on the spot are
I'm putting you on the
fantastic.
spot,
You're putting
like,
people on the
because
spot. Y-
you claim you have like good
You
taste,
know what?
so we need to know.
I would tell everyone that next year. But
Wow, so
but
this was fire rap you got this year is not your
yeah,
own.
it's okay. It's my own. It's my own. I won't say it's not my own, but next year, let's readdress this question next year. But my favorite part about the Spotify Wrapped for this year is that they introduced something called like a rap party, like Spotify Rap Party, where
Hmm.
you can create your own rap party and invite other people. You could join other people to Spotify Rap Party, and pretty much
Yep.
compare your music with your friends. So yeah, I did find that like pretty interesting. So
Yeah. I think I liked the fact that there was a files section or like a report section too that shows the AI
yeah,
feature.
that was
That
really
is
cool.
a
That was cool.
catch. Like that was like a really good inclusion. I love the fact that it wasn't all up in our face. It was something that was just like optional by the side. If you choose to go and see it, it's there. But then it tells you, oh, this is powered by AI. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? This is so cool. This actually does make a lot of sense. So you're able to see what day you listen to what song the most. And that's just like by the side. So I thought that was like really cool too. But yeah, I liked the Spotify party. That's definitely something new. I didn't expect that. I didn't even know that was possible. We have Spotify, the DJ AI feature. We had that already. We have the day list on Spotify, but I didn't even think that it was possible. Yeah, we do have the feature that allows you to create like a joint playlist with your friends, but I didn't think it was possible to like compare your wrapped. So yeah, kudos to Spotify. I definitely agree with Ian's product choice of the week. That's like a very, very cool experience.
Awesome. Glad you agree. I do have good taste in products, if I do say so myself.
Okay, fine. We'll let you have this time.
All
Oh
right.
my.
So with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. Yeah, it's been a really fun one. There was lots to talk about this week. And as always, we look forward to sharing more about tech and tech news with you guys in our next episode. Yeah, Dami, do you have anything else to say?
No, not particular, but as always, do not forget to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TechTacToe Podcast, TechTacToe Pod on all social media accounts. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. Share with your friends, with your family. And if you're listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, definitely give a review or a rating if you enjoy this podcast so that other people can find it as well. And we'll catch you next week with another podcast sharing about tech talk for
Everyday
everyday
people.
people.
All right. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Bye.